What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have Ned back with us. What's up, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How's it going already on?
Pretty good, pretty good. My background is still blurry, still not as good as yours, but I'll get there soon. I'll start off with a nice mic and go from there. All right, so today we're going to talk about our first deals. This first deal was a few years back, so he's going to have to jog his memory a little bit.
Oof.
Mine was pretty recent. It was less than a year ago. So the numbers are pretty fresh for me. And I guess I can go first, right?
Yeah, you just made me think I should look at Pine Street in my email because I want to see when I bought this thing.
All right.
'Cause I
Cool.
definitely still have the email. I'm listening though.
All right. So my first property was a duplex. A little bit of a story before that. I am originally from New York, and I decided to start investing there at first. This was in 2021. Market was pretty hot. I was looking to buy a single family in Long Island. Was going to live there, fix it up. Was looking for a beat down house. Was going to fix that up, and hopefully after a couple of years, move out of that, buy another one, and then rent that one out, and keep doing that. That's basically the one rental at a time strategy that Zuber talks about.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, this was 2021, and we must have made maybe 15 offers total, and they all went over asking, and not to me, of course, to another buyer. So this took about a year, maybe a year and a half, and then I decided to move out of New York. I think
Was that frustrating? I wasn't
it
putting
was pretty
offers
frustrating. It,
at,
it
at
was it
that
was
time.
pretty frustrating, yeah.
So it was just like kind of an emotional roller coaster where y'all just ready to get a deal but you just didn't want to go too
Well,
hard.
I was educated before deciding to invest for a while. I was looking at Zuber's videos and the lumberjack landlord and Dion and stuff. So I wasn't really emotional about it. I knew that I had to be patient and
Okay.
just watch, do the work, like they all say, and keep waiting for the deal. So I just keep making offers. They weren't getting accepted, and just moved on to the next one. But after a while, life was changing. I got married, and we decided to move to New Hampshire. Now, our goal was to be in New Hampshire at some point in the future anyway. So I figured might as well just start investing there now, hopefully with a house hack, and get that started right away. So I started to look in New Hampshire, uh, more specifically in Keene, New Hampshire. And I was looking for a duplex, basically just a regular duplex, 3 bedroom uh, for myself, 3 bedroom for the other unit. And I don't remember how long I looked, and I think I made maybe 2 or 3 offers before we landed on this property. So this property is we got it locked for 217. It was listed for 229, if I remember correctly, and we negotiated down to 217. It's a duplex. It's a 3 bedroom downstairs and a 2 bedroom upstairs.
Okay, over under. I
Yep.
wish I could find something for that inexpensive in New Orleans. New Orleans is very expensive.
Yeah, that was also one of the driving causes of moving to New Hampshire, because in New York, a single family was going for like 500. So that's the offers I was making in New York. So this allowed us to save a little bit more money, keep a little more cash in our pocket. And I put a 15% down on this property. It was owner occupied. That came out to I think about like 35 or 36K or something like that, with closing costs, I believe. Closing costs were about 9K. So it was a small chunk of change. Rents for this property go
What kind
about.
of loan did you use?
It was a conventional owner occupied, 15% down.
15%. Okay.
Yep, 15% down. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm gonna pause for a little bit. Can you hear in the background crying and stuff or no?
No, I can't hear any of that.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna keep going.
Your mic should only be catching most like in the room
Okay.
over. Can
Hmm.
you hear the washing machine?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Good to know for the future.
Now you might
Oh.
hear a car go by because these garage doors don't insulate that good. Every now and then, if someone in like a Harley goes by.
Mhm. All right. Okay. All right. So I'll continue with the rent. So I did the math for this property, and the return or the cash on cash return was about I think it was 20%, a little bit over 20%, which is a pretty good return for a first deal. The rents for the
And
three.
that was with you in it, assuming, or no, that was if you had rented out
No,
and
that
you
was
weren't in it.
once I moved out. Once I moved out, it was going to be 20%. Now, of course, I'm still in this property. The rents have gone up since 2021, so the return is much higher. However, I also changed my strategy with this property because initially I wasn't going to do a gut renovation, but now I'm in the middle of a gut renovation here. So rent's going up, me putting in a little bit more money in there, it comes out to be about the same return. The bottom unit. So one thing that I didn't do a lot of research on. So one thing that I guess it was a mistake. It was listed as a 5 bedroom total, so three downstairs and two upstairs. However, it's actually two downstairs and two upstairs. What they have done downstairs is they've covered the porch here, and the owner considered this a third bedroom, but it wasn't listed with the town as a third bedroom. So it's technically two downstairs and two upstairs. Now you can still rent it out as a 3 bedroom, but with the gut renovation that I'm doing, I'm adding a normal sized bedroom into it, and I'm gaining that third bedroom that I lost back. So
So he did that without a permit, is what you're saying.
basically, yeah, he was
Yeah.
renting it out as a 3 bedroom. It is a smaller bedroom, but it's um it's a third bedroom nonetheless. Yeah.
So you think that's going to affect your tax basis in the property? So you're doing all the, I assume you're pulling permits and all that
Yep.
stuff.
Actually, good news. I got the permit 3 days ago,
Okay.
so it's finally because I've been going back and forth with the town with a bunch of changes. The major change that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to add a exterior staircase to access the top unit because currently it goes inside the property and it goes upstairs. So I'm going to win a bunch of square footage for both of the units actually, upstairs and downstairs. So we got the permit. The bottom unit, once it's all fixed up, it's going to rent for about, I'll say 19 to 2000. It's a 3 bedroom, and the upstairs, and I'm also adding a bathroom, by the way, in the bottom unit. So in this property, so this first property is kind of like my testing grounds for real estate. I probably wouldn't recommend this for beginners doing what I'm doing with their first investment, with their first property. Doing a gut renovation is not a it's not an easy task. But
So were you handy before you took this thing on?
I was handy. I would say I did do construction before. Like I said in the first video that we did our intros, I worked construction for maybe like 8 months or so, and I've always helped my dad work at our at my parents' house. We've done a gut renovation there at my parents' house during COVID. Most people were just chilling and hanging out at home. As soon as my family found out that we were going to be home for a few months, we just gutted the whole first floor and did a whole renovation there. But so I gained a bunch of experience from that. So I would say I'm more handy than most people. But even if you're even more handy than me, I still wouldn't recommend doing a gut renovation for your first property. You
Yeah,
can still do it.
I'm sure you're learning some hard lessons.
learning a bunch of lessons, but I think this was well, I don't think, I know this was intentional because I made this conscious decision to make this, like I said, like a test property and trying out property. Basically, since I'm living here, I'm going to be here for a while until I find my next deal. So I figured, all right, I'll do everything that I can and learn everything I can, and I actually am learning a lot. I'm learning how to deal with the city, with the town. That's the main thing that I would say I got from this. I'm learning what framing they use with these older properties. This property is from 1890.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty old. I'm learning about insulation. I'm learning about
If they even
flooring.
used any. So you've got plaster and stuff in that house?
Oh yeah, it's a bunch of plaster. See, I have a video in my channel about me demoing all that plaster, and now next step is to dump all of that out the window. So demo is the fun part of the job, I would say, even though it's pretty tiring. It's a good exercise though.
I did some demo when I was in high school. It's a easy job for like to give a kid on during the summer. Just
Oh
hand him a
yeah, yeah,
sledgehammer and say, "Don't take out anything structural."
yeah. Well, you got to tell them what structural is. So it's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I'm learning about load-bearing walls as well. Speaking about structural, I'm learning about how to remove load-bearing walls and add LVL beams to make an open concept kitchen and living room space. So I'll be doing that with the upstairs unit. I'm going to make a video about that as well. So all these little things, right? I'm learning about what kind of sheetrock I got to put in the exterior walls in order to dampen the noise from the street, because the street that I'm at here, it's a double yellow line. There's a bunch of cars that drive by here all the time.
Okay.
So that's probably the breaking point of a tenant, and the turnover would probably be a little bit higher if that noise stays. So I'm going to be adding those what do you call those, quiet rock, the sheetrock, quiet rocks. It's the size of a single sheetrock. However,
Yeah, the lumberjack landlord has
yep,
talked about that in his
yeah,
videos
he's the one
a few
who
times. Bad. Yeah.
yeah. So it has the dampening quality of eight sheetrock. So that's something I'm
Oh
going to
wow.
be doing here.
So is it? I'm sure it's more expensive, but
Oh,
is
it's
it?
definitely more expensive. It's a lot more heavier, and it has this membrane inside. I don't know if it's metal or something, but that's what makes it dampen the sound.
You
So
can't hear the dryer slamming around, can you?
nope, I can't.
Okay, good.
Okay, we got a bunch of editing to do later.
Oh no, you can leave that in. It'll be fine.
All right. So yeah, so it is becoming a learning property, a teaching property, a lesson property. But I welcome that. If it's kind of getting all my failures out of the way in the beginning. That's kind of the way I see it, even though I haven't really failed that much
Trust me,
for
you're
now.
you're you're gonna learn a little bit on every property.
Mhm.
I I I have never bought a property and not learned something totally weird.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's
Well, I'm checking off a lot of them with this property, starting off with the roof as well. I currently have slate roof. I know you guys don't probably have slate.
Oh no, we have got slate roofs.
You have?
And
Okay.
depending on the slate roof, sometimes the roof is worth more than the house is.
Yeah, that's true. The slate that I have, so I'm going to redo the roof as well. Obviously, I'm going to get a contractor for that, but
Are you
the
gonna
slate,
are you gonna keep the slate and just because I know you like rebuild it or it's something weird like that, right?
no, I'm gonna. So I was just gonna say that I'm gonna sell the slate actually, because they're very expensive and people want to buy them for remodeling jobs and whatnot. But
Okay.
I'm gonna replace those with just regular 30-year architectural shingles.
So
I'm
will
gonna add
you
some
do you
gutters
think you're
there
gonna
too.
make money selling the roof or is it gonna almost be like a wash like the material
No,
was?
no, it's just gonna take off a little bit from the cost.
Okay.
It's not
Because that would have been cool to
that
get a free
expensive.
roof.
Oh yeah, free roofs are great because roofs don't really. I mean, they add to the value of the house, but they don't really do much for rents. So it's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
necessity. So I'm learning about airing or venting a roof properly. I have a hip roof, so
Okay.
that's a whole other problem in order to vent this roof properly.
Thank your lucky stars you don't have a flat roof, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Those
yeah.
are
No
rough.
flat roofs here. So yeah, the lessons are coming nicely, coming along. I'm learning a lot. Hopefully, this property will be worth a lot more by the time I'm done. I'm adding also a new
Do you
heating
have like good
system
comps in
on
the
the
area?
seats.
That like, have you looked around to make sure that you're not over improving or anything crazy like that?
I no, yeah, I have I say no to the over improving, but I do look at the market every day pretty much. There's not many duplexes that go on the market here. There's I would say maybe there's like four or five right now in
Yeah.
this city. It's a city of 20,000 population. But single family homes are still selling over asking, and they're selling like 40 or 50K over asking with a price of like 250K, 300K. They
Mhm.
all sell over asking for some reason. Well, I know the reason. There's no inventory, but and the duplexes are all at about 350 or so. That are somewhat fixed up. Mine is going to be completely fixed up. It's going to be brand new. Those have been fixed maybe within the last 10 years, and they go for 350. And I'm going to be putting in, from my math, I think just under 100K.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of money in there. It's a lot of work, but it's definitely going to be it's going to be worth it.
And is
And
this
I don't
like
plan on
savings
selling the property.
or is it savings or are you doing like a construction loan?
Oh, this is savings, so I'll be tapped out after this. I
Yeah.
gotta wait for some more rents to come in before I buy
Plan
it again.
planning to do a burr or are you just gonna snowball it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna hold it. Just gonna hold it, and
Okay.
definitely gonna refinance. Hopefully, with depending on what the rates are. My rate was I got it for 5.8, which I guess is pretty normal. Or
How recent was it?
normal.
About oh
Well,
yeah,
that
because
was
it's a year ago, so
July
that's
of
not
21.
yeah. Okay. I
Yeah.
mean,
So,
that's not bad. I mean, historically, you're still cheap. So
yeah, exactly. And this new duplex that I got a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, I got the rate for 7.5, but I guess we can talk about the second deal in another video.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That
so
one's a little more turnkey though, right?
yeah, it's definitely more turnkey. It's also a duplex. And speaking of how much duplexes go, it's I got it for 345, and it's nicely fixed up. It's not going to be as nice as this one, but it's up there.
Well, you don't want to go too nice with like I mean, I guess there's different markets, but in some markets you don't want to go too nice.
Yeah, definitely don't want to go too nice here, but this is like I said in the beginning, this is the video for me, not the video, the property for me to learn everything pretty much, and I'm trying to get my learning out of the way. I'm sure there will be more to learn, but this will be it. And new heating system, new electrical panels, new plumbing, so it's gonna be a real gut. So stay tuned on the channel to watch all those videos. That's pretty much it from my deal. I don't know if you have any more questions.
No, I don't think so. Do you have any idea? So how much of your note is going to get covered by the other side when it's rented out?
So my note now is 1600,
Okay.
16 change, and it's gonna get covered just from the top unit. Top unit rents for from what I've seen in the market now, it's an 18 or
Oh,
so.
nice,
So just
nice.
the top unit will cover it,
And that'll
plus
cover your
a bit of
utilities and
change.
everything.
Yep. And then
Cool.
the
That's a
bottom unit,
perfect deal.
yeah, I would say it's a perfect deal. I wouldn't call it perfect until it's done, and then I get some tenants in here. Then I can call it perfect. But for now, I guess we can call it perfect.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's better than what we're seeing here. You've got to go with to get that kind of coverage on a note here, you need to buy like a fourplex or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Unless you want to go on a maybe I'm looking in areas that are too fancy. That's probably it.
Maybe, maybe.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your first deal, man. How did that
So
go?
I was talking with my wife, and she was saying that I was not disingenuous, but misremembering on our first video. She was saying that I had been looking at uh, at multifamilies, small multifamilies, 2 units to 4 units, and that we had really wanted to live in an area, and I was honestly using house hacking for the exact wrong reasons at the time. I was kind of like, we can buy in the fancy place and afford to live there anyway.
Mhm.
And so that was kind of my
Yep.
mentality. So I was stretching a little too far, because at the time I thought I was a trading whiz. So I was day trading stocks and doing silly things, um, to try
I
and
would
build my
consider day
capital.
trading silly.
Huh?
I would consider day trading silly, even though I haven't really
I was day
dabbled
trading
in it
with
too much.
options, so it was silly.
Even more silly.
um, but I'm a finance guy, and I actually I don't think I've told you this story. So the way I got my first down payment was, do you remember stocks from like 2015? Do you remember Sun Edison, the solar company that went bankrupt?
Was that Elon Musk? Elon
No,
Musk
that was, I think
still
it was
city?
Obama. There was some kind of crate, like a bunch of
I don't
money,
know.
like it was Solyndra. There was a bunch of solar companies that just did not work out, and one of the biggest ones was Sun Edison.
Okay.
And Sun Edison was going through a bankruptcy, and they had a couple other companies under them. And I don't want to get into it on this podcast because it was insanely complicated. But I was reading the court documents, trying to figure out who was going to go bankrupt or whatever, and they were affecting a bunch of other solar stocks. And so I just took all of my cash and went all in on 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 a couple of big bets that I ended up being right about, and that helped me get my one of my first down payments to go buy a property.
Nice. You're lucky.
But
Like usually it doesn't go that way when you go
well,
all in.
if you go back and you look at it, what I was doing was, it was risky, but the market was just being stupid.
Mhm. Yep.
Like it's pretty obvious what was going to happen if you knew the details that I knew. So the
Okay.
company that I went all in on wasn't reporting their financials
Hmm.
for 2 whole quarters, because the company that was going bankrupt also was the company that was the accounting department for the company not doing reporting.
Hmm.
So the market wasn't getting any data on what was happening with this company. But if you knew what the company structure was prior to all this mess happening, you knew that just cash was just piling up in their bank accounts, and they couldn't do anything with it because their accounting department was effectively going through this crazy bankruptcy.
All right.
So the biggest risk was just not knowing what was happening with all the cash in the company.
Okay.
And so
So
I
it's somewhat of a
personally didn't
calculated risk,
feel it
huh?
was all that risky, but I lost so much sleep over that whole process. I was like, when we moved into this property, and then I compared my notes and looked at my returns on the day trading versus house hacking, I was like, I am never day trading again, because house
Mhm.
hacking is so much easier, so much less stress. My wife's not constantly asking me like, hey, are you okay, like, just my whole life was so much simpler, and there's so much less noise when you just know, okay, I need to figure out this property, I need
Yep.
to go in, I need to fix the floor, I need to make sure the tenant's good. Like, there's just less moving parts, whereas every day I was reading every article, all the headlines, all, like, there's so there's so much less information you have to
Yeah.
consume to
Yeah.
just do a property, because all you're worried about is your neighborhood and
Yep.
however many doors you got.
And also this the real estate process, it's slower moving, right? It's not like you look at the news today and then oh, your property just went down
Yeah,
30% or something like
yeah.
that, you know?
Yeah, with the way I was
So
trading, I could have lost everything in an hour if I wasn't paying
mhm,
attention. It
yeah.
was not. It was not the way to do it.
All right.
Uh,
So then you got your down payment from that calculated,
um,
we'll call it.
I can't remember the exact timelines, but I either got the down payment for the next property or that property while doing that.
Mhm.
And that whole process of doing the day trading while also doing real estate at the same time, I was kind of like, all right, I did good. I'm gonna take my chips off the table. Pretty sure I got lucky. Not doing that again.
Nice.
And but yeah, so but yeah, maybe I can go back in one of my old accounts, maybe for that at some point down the road we can figure out how much money I made on that and exactly how I did it, how I could have done better, because I'm sure there was a way to do it with way less risk, but also be able to sleep. And I was just not educated. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
trying to figure it out, and I was too nervous. It wasn't good. But basically, at the end of the day, my wife and I wanted to go live in this neighborhood. We got into the property, and I honestly completely forgot. And I told this is where the cigar
mhm,
story came from. I was sitting on my front porch after we closed. I was so excited about the fact that we're now finally in our property, and it was probably the first week, and I'm sitting there having a cigar, and tenant walks over, hands me an envelope, walks back into his unit, and it just clicked
yeah.
suddenly.
By your first check.
And the reason in the last story that I was talking what the relief was the comparison of all of that craziness going on in my head from the day trading versus just sitting
Mhm.
there and having someone hand me an envelope with the rent in it.
Yeah,
Just the dichotomy of how different the stress levels between, like, I did this to get this return and then I just got handed the check, which, yeah, I put the work in on the front end, found the property, blah blah blah, did all that stuff, but it's so much less stressful.
mhm. Yeah, definitely. Now,
Yeah.
how did the property come with the tenant, or did you place that tenant in there?
So we went back and looked at it, and it turned out that the tenant that came with the property left like within 6 months of us buying the property, and it was a man, I think it was a doctor,
Okay.
because we were right down from Tulane and Loyola, no, down from Tulane Law School, or maybe it was Loyola Law School, one of those. It was Pine Street in New Orleans. I'm not going to give the exact address, 'cause I don't want anybody bothering them. I guess Uber gives the exact address, but we'll do that in another video. And so when I listed it, I assumed that when I listed the other side that it was going to just rent up real quick. And my first experience was, and I hope you've watched enough Zuber and enough online stuff to
Mhm.
where you're not going to make this mistake. But I was kind of just lolly going around life, going about life as if nothing was going to be different, and that
Mhm.
it's going to rent in a week and it'd be fine. So I listed it for, actually, we have right here, I listed it for 1900.
And this was
Crickets.
a three bedroom, two bedroom,
This is a 1 bedroom,
one bedroom.
and this is 2016. So the doctor must have been in there basically 6 months after 6 months, yeah, 6 to 9 months after we closed. And it sat vacant. I remember it sat vacant for months, and then finally it rented because I didn't know how to market it. I ended up giving up because I thought I'd just stick a sign in the front. I didn't do any of the homework because I hadn't really done the whole YouTube University thing other than watch a little Grant Cardone. And I just thought, you stick a sign out front and then you put it online and it would fill. And that's not as easy as it was. So for the next couple of months, I'm sitting there, and because the prior 6 months or so, I had all this extra cash because I basically was, I think the note was like 2,700, and then we had 1,800 coming in, so it's only paying like $1,000 a month, which was less than my prior place's rent. So I had all this extra cash, and I got used to using it. Um, and then I had this vacancy, and suddenly I was like, oh crap, like I can have vacancies are terrible. And
Yeah.
so I had to cut back, finally got it rented. And thankfully that vacancy for a minute there made me wise up. And I went back to basically I adopted the principle that I still sort of use to this day, which is I pretend at least in the house I'm living in, that I'm covering the whole note myself.
Yep.
And I basically haven't used any rental income for personal use ever. All of that gets reinvested back. It stacks up into other bank accounts and the
Some for
LLCs and
maintenance,
stuff
right?
like
Some
that. And as it grows, and on top of that, I save and I put my own money on the side,
Mhm.
so that I can save up for the next down payment. Because I started doing piling it up because I was worried. Well, what if the roof breaks? What if blah blah blah? Because like the tenant wasn't there, and then that
Mhm.
was terrible. So suddenly I started having these other concerns, and I was like, you know what? The easy way to do this is I'll just pretend I'm paying the whole house note myself. So I paid it, and I took all the income from the other side, and I believe I put it in a Scott trade account, and it just
Mhm.
kind of piled up. Um, and I basically I think I might have stuck it in an index fund. It might have just sat there in a money market for
Mhm.
basically 18 months. And then 18 months later, I looked over at the account and I had enough money for another down payment. I was just kind of like, oh, well, that
Hmm.
wasn't as hard as it would be.
Yeah, yeah. So you
And
were basically just continuing to pay rent, right? And then you had an extra source of income.
yeah, but I'm paying rent to myself. And so I just let it
Yep.
stack. And the coolest part about that was effectively going out with all my friends, the same amount I was spending on dinners and movie dates and all that stuff in my life effectively stayed the same.
Hmm.
But in the prior scenario, my note was something around 30 or 40% of my income,
Hmm.
whereas in the new scenario, I was saving probably 20% or more of my income, depending on what was going
Yep.
on. And
They
but it
lower
was
your
with
living
no
expense.
lifestyle adjustments. And I mean that was the magic of house hacking, I guess.
Yeah, house hacking is where it's at, man.
So, but I mean, yeah, without that first deal, that that first rent check, I'm excited for you to get one. We need to do a video when you get your first rent check
Well,
because
I
you
think
haven't had one yet, right?
we're gonna do another video. No, not yet, not yet. So I know this is a video about our first deal, but I have 4 units now, so two duplexes, and I have
Yeah.
zero tenants. So it's a pretty anxious situation to be in. And I think before we talk about our first rent check, I think we should talk about our first tenant because I am in the process of marketing one of those units and waiting for tenants to come in here. So I think that should be our next video.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. See you on the next one.
Y'all have a good week.